Hello, my name is Reiko Osoroshi. On this channel, I narrate Japanese ghost stories. I will now present you with the ghost story of this series, Part 1, The Mentor, from the serialized series, The Mentor series. Please look forward to future installments as they will be posted in due course. The Mentor. Story about my senior from high school days. I should mention up front that, while heavily influenced by the Mentor series, this is fundamentally based on real experiences. There was a senior. Well, in high school, there's always someone older, and broadly speaking, there are plenty of seniors in life too. Anyway, there was someone ahead of me. Not just in terms of grade, of course, but also in terms of life itself. He was the man who led the way on my occult path. You might be familiar with that series, and I thought of us as a sort of master and apprentice, but that relationship came to an end with his disappearance. At that time, it was the heyday of my involvement in the occult, the most fulfilling period of my life in that regard. Let me tell you the first story from that time. The encounter happened shortly after I entered high school. However, during that time, I didn't believe in anything related to the occult at all. In junior high, I had been obsessively into it, but that was because of that illness that everyone is said to contract at least once. Having fully recovered, I was so afraid of a relapse that I was determined to go in the opposite direction. Yes, when I thought about it calmly, it wasn't particularly cool to have esoteric and minor knowledge. Although that knowledge still resided somewhere in the corner of my brain, I believed I would never flaunt it again. I decided to leave behind my junior high experiences and start fresh in high school, determined to do things differently this time. I think it was around a month into the school year. All the cherry blossoms had fallen, and it was getting close to the time when they would become leafy cherry trees, so it was probably around the end of April. On that day, I left home earlier than usual. There wasn't any particular reason for it. I had simply woken up early, and I thought it might be interesting to go to school at a time when there were no people around once in a while. As expected, I didn't cross paths with anyone, and when I reached the school gate slope, there was an empty field with no one, not even the morning practice group. Feeling somewhat content, I entered the school building, took my shoes from the shoebox, and started walking down the hallway toward my classroom, which was 1 to 3. However, just outside the emergency exit, under the emergency stairs, I saw something glowing. It was a conical object with a metallic sheen, and upon closer examination, it had what appeared to be a fishing line hanging from it. It was suspended from somewhere higher up. That's a pendulum. My supernatural knowledge, which I hadn't used in a while, was instantly activated. In other words, it was a type of dowsing tool used to detect things like energy or auras. The one I had made was a short handheld version, but this one was much longer, almost reaching the ground. Bathed in the morning sunlight, the tip of the cone was pointing towards the ground. Upon reflection, I felt like I had jumped to conclusions too quickly by calling it a pendulum, but for some reason, I had a strange sense of certainty. I continued past the classroom and headed towards the emergency exit at the end of the hallway. My heart raced just a little. I could feel it. As I got closer to the emergency exit, the pendulum swayed. The one I had made never reacted in any supposedly paranormal location. To confirm the source of the movement, I stepped outside through the emergency exit. There was no wind. The fishing line led to a landing on the emergency stairs, hanging from 1 floor above. My heartbeat returned to normal. I had vaguely imagined that there was something unseen causing it to sway, leading to some unpopulated space beyond. So, I was a little disappointed when the reality was quite ordinary. "Hey, come up here," a male voice called out from the landing. I had already intended to do so, even without being told. I ascended the stairs, and on the second floor, there was a man looking down from the landing. He seemed extremely bored. "You must know what that thing is," he said, referring to the pendulum. I knew its purpose, but it felt a bit embarrassing, so I simply replied, "A little." "Then did you see it? The one from earlier?" I wasn't quite sure what he meant by, "the one from earlier." Did I do something while I was on my way here? As I remained silent, the man finally turned his face towards me. "You didn't see it? It was swaying, right? The pendulum." I felt a bit irritated. It was obvious that this man was the one who had caused it to sway from above. The tip of the pendulum was taped to the landing's floor with cellophane tape. He could easily make it sway by touching the string or doing something similar. Either he was crazy or intoxicated with something like my past self. "Didn't you make it sway? Or do you really see?" Before I could finish my sentence about seeing ghosts, the man interrupted me. "Hey, take a look. Down there. Look." I looked down alongside the man. The pendulum was moving in circles. What? Neither I nor the man had touched the string. Moreover, the pendulum occasionally came to a sudden stop, with the string stretched diagonally. "See? You can't see it, can you? Aren't you able to see it?" I couldn't see anything. There was just a piece of metal moving in an inexplicable manner. The man pointed his finger and urged me to look more closely. "I can't see anything." After clicking my tongue in frustration, the man suddenly suggested, "Try closing your eyes." I obediently complied. The scene I had been watching until a moment ago flashed before my eyelids. Behind my eyelids, there was an afterimage, and within it, there was a cat that shouldn't have been there. It was touching the pendulum, a silhouette of a cat. In the vision, which was more like it had been embossed than black and white, I could even discern the colors of the cat. I opened my eyes suddenly. You saw it, didn't you? A cat? The man grabbed my shoulder. I was surprised and looked at the man. His eyes were filled with an inexplicable joy. You're a new student, right? I'm a third year. Hey, let's be friends. That was the beginning of my encounter with my senior. It was a period of vivid, indigo-colored memories with a senior I can no longer meet. From that day on, I would receive various things from him and lose various things, but at that time, I was simply pursuing my pure admiration. It's always too late to realize, my senior used to say with a regretful tone, and it was only after it became too late that I came to understand his words. How was it? I'm looking forward to seeing what experiences they have and what kind of relationship they develop in the future. Please do look forward to the upcoming installments. If you have any other stories you would like me to introduce or any questions about the stories, please leave a comment. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and stay tuned for the next episode.